I really do think like as Katina mentioned earlier, this is just the one step in a very long journey. And if you're interested in the fact that this is the first union in an RPG company, then follow our story. Like, help us tell that story. Join us and help us tell the story of what it means to be a union shop in an RPG industry.
And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very, very special episode of Professional Idiocy. Oh my God, we have a lot to talk about. I'm super excited. We have some great guests on. So I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. I am James. I am the host. Alongside me, I have always my co-host Bharat.
Hello, as always.
We also brought in from our Roll for Idiocy campaign and our last Paizo interview, Tylen.
That's me.
Awesome. So we have two very great guests from Paizo to come talk with us. I'm going to butcher last names, so we're just going to call them Jason, Tondro, and Katina Davis. So Jason, can you introduce yourself first and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Jason Tondro. I'm a senior developer at Paizo. I help make adventure paths for both the Starfinder and Pathfinder RPGs.
And Katina?
Yeah, I'm Katina Davis. I'm the web store coordinator. So I'm kind of in the guts of things, and I make the product pages so folks can order them. And I handle subscriptions and talking with consignment folks about selling their stuff on Paizo.com.
So we are actually interviewing, for those who are just listening now in whatever space time you decide you find yourself in, we are recording right after Paizo has just announced they recognize the Union of Paizo Workers, which is absolutely huge. So I'm going to start this with Katina, and then we'll go to Jason. How do you guys feel about this? Because this is historic for TTRPGs in general.
Yeah, I mean, this literally just happened like 40 minutes before we started recording, basically. So I'm kind of like a bundle of emotions and just really excited to see kind of what is going to happen. And kind of, obviously it's the first step in a long road, but we're all just really excited and really grateful for all the support we've gotten so far.
Yeah, I was hopeful this would happen. But I confess to you, I did not think that it would. I thought we were going to have to go all the way to a vote in 2 months, but I hoped that I would be wrong. And as usual, I am wrong. I'm wrong a lot, and my friends will all agree with me. So I was glad to be wrong. I'll tell you what, though, I cannot wait to tell my dad. He never answers email. He won't answer the phone. There's basically only one way to communicate with him, and that is by physical written letter. Basically, my dad's a Luddite, and so I'm gonna write him a letter and tell him how we unionized my shop. And I have to say, I just really am really proud of what we all did. I'm proud of Paizo's management for making the right decision, and so quickly and so smoothly. I'm incredibly grateful to the freelancers that helped to make this such an effective campaign. And I'm glad to be proven wrong and to prove all of the naysayers wrong that said, like every shop fights unions and they're going to hire all these lawyers. And I'm like, that didn't happen. And it's so awesome.
Yeah. Tylen? Yeah. You got anything to say on this?
I was really surprised to see that there was like any backlash at all. It was a very small amount of people. Yeah. But there was some backlash to the announcement that a union would be trying to form, which was weird. And I'm very glad that those naysayers were proven wrong, like you said.
There's a bit of a unions can become a bit of a political point of conflict where we stop thinking about the details of what the union really means. And we just start thinking of it as a political issue, right? You're either liberal and pro-union or you're conservative and pro-business, as if unions are not pro-business. Like, this is our job. Like we want Paizo to succeed. We want Paizo to make $1 million so it can pay all of us and give us raises. Like we're all in this together. We don't want anybody to lose their jobs. We don't want anybody to get fired. So yeah, it can be a political issue, but I'm glad that we could set that aside. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely great seeing people like Jason Bowman come out in full support of this. And I won't lie as well. I initially was like, oh, this could be fought out for a long time, and I kept seeing news articles being like Pathfinder, Starfinder delayed for until 2023 question mark. I was like, oh God, please don't. Uh, I'm like, I'm still running through Ruby Phoenix right now, but just like give me a little time, at least some new stuff. So I want to just give some context. I think Jason, you can start us off. So what exactly caused you to unionize? Because there's in the gaming industry in general, we're coming right off of also Blizzard getting into a lot of issues with their work habits. So especially seeing this in the gaming industry, if you guys want to talk about it, if you don't want to, we
Well,
can move on.
actually, Katina, I kind of want to pass the whole Sarah Marie Diego story off to you because I feel like you were there and you would know it a lot better.
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know, like, there's a lot that is kind of up in the air still. And I mean, a lot of stuff that is still personal, like details and everything
Yeah.
like that. But
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I will say that Sarah Marie's firing was something that galvanized a lot of kind of, well, I mean, it started a lot of questions. It got a lot of people kind of concerned, and it, just caused a lot of uneasiness and stuff. So, but I will say that organization was trying to happen before that. It's been kind of people, there have been different cells that have kind of tried to start little sparks and have hit, one roadblock or another. And of course, COVID kind of throws things at you anyway. So I think that Sarah Marie and Diego leaving was a big milestone in that it got a lot of people kind of interested in the cause and kind of was a catalyst, I guess. Yeah.
And then when Sarah Marie was sort of either quit or forced to resign, depending on, how you look at it. But Diego quit out of solidarity with Sarah Marie.
Yeah.
And this all happened right before Gen Con, just about 5-6 weeks ago, about a month and a week ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry.
And that created this whole sort of PR firestorm, which you alluded to before our interview started, because you interviewed Mark Seifter just a couple of days after, when all that stuff was kind of at its peak. Well, the big development that happened after that, in addition to, in many ways, before the United Paizo Workers had even really started to form officially, was the freelancer work stoppage.
Mm-hmm.
So about 40 plus freelancers who had been working with Paizo for a long time, and many of our most respected and reliable and high quality freelancers all got together, and they decided to withhold their labor on our behalf, on behalf of the employees. And they had a long list of demands that included things like investigating charges of sexual harassment or an unsafe work environment at the office, maybe hiring a diversity officer to make sure that our LGBTQ employees and our female employees and our people of color who work at Paizo get treated in the way that they deserve to be treated and get listened to and get a seat at the table. Along with plenty of other demands like a salary transparency. Let's get everybody's salaries posted in some kind of public way so that we all know how much everybody is making, from the CEOs to the new hires. Well, those freelancers, many of them were working on projects at the time. And so they just stopped. They just put all their pens down and just stopped work. Others refused to take any new work. And we have books we have to assign. Like Paizo relies heavily on freelancers. Like we don't write in our own books. Some books are more written by freelancers than others, but all of them are mostly freelance. All of our books are mostly written by freelancers. And so we have books we have to assign. And when the freelancers won't take jobs, then we can't assign the books, and then the books don't come out. And when the books don't come out, Paizo can't pay rent. So then the last element of that was the final and most powerful, I think, in my opinion, and in many ways, most controversial aspect of it was the freelancers refused to turn in work they had already completed. And so all of those things combined started to put some pretty serious pressure on the office. And then meanwhile, Jenny Jerzabski reached out to me and other people and asked if we were interested in the union. And when I finally got an invite to our Discord server, there were a bunch of people already there. And Katina might have been one of them. And then the more people joined afterwards, and we all kind of went to our other friends in the company, and pretty soon we had a majority and then a super majority. And we did indoctrination training to prepare for anti-union activities. We got great time with Ted, our CWA representative. That's the Communication Workers of America. We heard horror stories about union efforts that had failed at other offices. And we were totally buckled down and prepared for a long fight. We filed paperwork with the National Labor Relations Board to hold a vote. We all signed union cards while singing solidarity. Like we spared no expense, man. We were all there. And that was exactly a week ago. And I'm shocked that it happened all so fast.
That's amazing. Have you guys seen, you mentioned indoctrination training against like anti-union activities.
That's right.
Have you seen that from Paizo in the past at all?
No, and in fact, a lot of things Katina, you can help me out here if I don't remember all of them, but there were things like, for example, forming a no committee, where the company finds the people that are no on the union, and they make those people form a public committee and then start recruiting employees back from the yes column to the no column. Well, the trouble with that is there just weren't enough people to form a committee. We didn't even announce until we had 35%. We had 35 people. We had 70% before we even announced, and then every day the numbers went up. And I think the last I heard we were at 80%. And wow. The shop's not that big. Like there's only 50 union eligible employees in the whole company. So because we have a lot of managers, so you start doing the math, and like pretty soon, like they don't have enough. They don't have enough folks to do anything with. And there were a lot of other like kind of carrot and stick stuff, where like the company might offer, maybe they offer a promotion or a salary increase to somebody if they say no, or maybe they say, well, we can't afford to give you this thing that you want because we're losing all this money because of bad press from the union, or they try to make us feel guilty, like, oh, we're in this big licensing conversation with another big company, and they're scared off by the union, so we're going to lose that contract, and don't you feel bad that that the company is losing millions because of the union. None of that happened. And to all credit to the executives, like we didn't hear, they were instantly quiet. They didn't say anything. And which makes perfect sense. They had to talk to their lawyers, right? Like this is a huge deal for the company. Going to transform Paizo forever. And maybe, I hope we can talk about this later on in the show, start to talk about what it's going to do to other companies in the RPG field. So it's a big deal. And so they had to talk to a lot of people, and they're absolutely right to take that time. And then we started to negotiate. They started to communicate with UPW behind the scenes. And then it all kind of shook down in the last couple of days.
Yeah, I will say there's an advantage to being in a group of nerds that all play RPGs. We want to finish our quests, so we kind of gather all the stuff together beforehand.
It's already that cooperative spirit there.
Yeah, we formed a party. We really, I mean, it's a really big party, but for an RPG.
Hey, if it takes 100 warriors to take down an ancient red dragon, it takes 100 warriors to take down the ancient red dragon.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think really just everyone was very motivated and very kind of inspired by each other, and especially I think during COVID, it can get really isolating. Everyone's at home. I mean, some people are back in the office if they want to, like sometimes, but a lot of times we're all kind of on our own. And so seeing this kind of come together and talking to other people that had similar concerns, or, you know, weren't sure about what's going on or who said what, and getting everybody together in one place, I think was such a great idea. And just, you know, getting all our voices together, making sure, okay, what do we actually need? What do we want? What's our plan? And I mean, the organization committee, they're just incredible. And they really put in a lot of work and a lot of time, and just and this is all on top of their day job. It's not like we all stopped working. So they did a lot of great things, and I think it's really amazing and exciting how much has come of it already. So yeah, I think getting a party of nerds together really can do some really good things.
So I'll direct this next question towards you, Katina. What's it like seeing all this like support from the community over on like, Twitter and other platforms like that?
It's been really awesome. I mean, it's been incredible just to see. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, there's always going to be one or two people that are kind of going to grumble or say, wow, this is going to ruin the company, or, your books are going to be delayed. And, but I mean, obviously the freelancers are behind us 100%. But then you see all the customers and all the, the fans and people from PaizoCon that you met before, or people that you've played in with in a game with at a table and stuff like that. It's just really, really great. And I will say, I don't think it's that surprising, because I have a background. So I'm web store coordinator now, but for 5 years, I was in the customer service department, and Sarah Marie was my boss. She's the one who hired me. And Diego was my coworker. He started like 6 months after I did. So I worked with both of them very closely. And the reason why Paizo's customer service is so great, why the community is so great, is because there's so much care and so much support that goes around, and everybody just is really excited, and they want to play the same game, and they want to talk about these cool characters they can make, or tell the tale about how their party got TPK'd or whatever. So like, I think seeing people kind of band together and say, hey, do the right thing, we want this company to succeed, we just want to play the games, we want you guys to keep working, basically. I think it's been great. But yeah, I'm not surprised, because I think I knew that they had the communities behind us, and they are really an incredible source of inspiration.
It was really like heartwarming to scroll through the Hold Paizo Accountable hashtag and the Unionized Paizo hashtag, and just see all of that like great reactions and outreach from the community and from the freelancers. And I'm sure it felt even better to you as people who were trying to, who were the pushing force behind that union and holding Paizo accountable.
Yeah.
And I want to echo what Katina was saying. I think it makes perfect sense, honestly, that we have had such support from the community, because Paizo as a company has spent the last 20 years building this incredible community. Like, it's tough to be a successful RPG company in today's market, right? And one of the ways that we succeeded is by really engaging with the fans, right? And like creating really loyal fans, players, GMs, people who just buy our books to read them, freelancers who write for us. And we think about that. This is a company that still in many ways still has kind of its ancient magazine roots from 20 years ago, and we still rely on subscriptions, and subscriptions are about getting you to come back month after month after month after month, right? Like, and we build that relationship. Katina mentioned PaizoCon. Like when we throw this annual convention, people come from all over, and we as employees are specifically told, like, look, these people came from all over to see you. They came here to be with you, to hang out with you at the banquet, to play games with you at the tables. And they're right. That's absolutely right. And this reflects kind of Paizo's overall philosophy that long-term success in this industry is about building loyal community with your fans. And so, of course, when the employees felt threatened, and when we wanted to improve our workplace, and get some voice at the table when it came time to negotiate how the business is run, well, of course, the fans were 100% in, right? They were all in for us, which has been fantastic. It absolutely has.
Yeah, I mean, definitely looking around me, just even right now in my room, I think you got loyalty down.
You're a great example. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You, my little nerd.
Cannot tell you how many plushies and figurines of the Paizo goblins.
Oh my god, I have the little bank one over there with the D20. Yeah, basically, just I'm a giant nerd. All right, I got it.
Are you saving up for the giant goblin statue?
you have no idea how badly I want that one. I go to my look, there's a local tabletop store 10 minutes away from my house. I go there and it mocks me. It mocks me by me not buying it every week. But I genuinely love everything that Paizo does and like puts out. And so when I initially read it, I was going to bed, it was like 1 a.m. and I just saw like the first controversy come up.
Yeah.
And just I was just so like, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little heartbroken, but I think definitely seeing the community, because I am trying to get myself more into the community, because well, you guys are all great and I love talking with such amazing content creators like what we had earlier with Deadly DA and you know, some other my favorite people I won't plug in right now, but I think it's genuinely great to see all of us, like even like from employee to just basic, hey, I played Pathfinder once and it was really cool. All of us just like come together under this giant like unionized Paizo. We're seeing a lot of people wanting change, and I think it's I can't tell you, like, you know, right before going live and seeing that email like just changed like my attitude just towards like how this interview was going to go down in general. So obviously we just talked about the freelancers completely stopping all work.
That's right.
Do you think sites like, you know, Pathfinder Infinite, where it's definitely 100% community based, you know, with it coming out in the middle of this, like, you know, well, for it, unfortunate timing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you notice anything on your end?
I think it was interesting timing, and I think that things are probably going to pick up a little bit, because I there are probably some folks that were kind of, you know, oh, I was going to write this thing, but now I kind of want to wait and see if they're going to unionize. So who knows? We might see more people who are like, yeah, you know, I'm actually willing to put stuff up now that I'm more comfortable with it.
That conversation is absolutely happening. I mean, I had freelancers write me and ask me what they should do. Right? I want to write for Infinite. Should I do it now or should I wait until the union is recognized? And of course, I told them, well, you know, you got to do what you think is right. But what I also knew was that I'm writing stuff for Infinite. Like I've got stuff that I'm getting ready to put up there. Owen Stevens and I are partnering for a bunch of stuff, and so now the union's been recognized. So it's my hope that all those freelancers who had projects that they were not sure about, I told them, I remember one guy was like, I want to write for Infinite, but I don't know what to do. I'm going to just not. And I said, well, work on your manuscript, because all we're doing is giving you a little bit of time to work. Like it's going to happen. And we always knew this was going to happen because we had the votes. So what folks that were not publishing on Infinite, what really that just came down to was you had an extra week to work on your manuscript, right? But now let's get back to work and get that stuff up there, because there's fans that want to read it, and I want to read it. I want to see what everybody's doing.
You hear that, fans? You got official Paizo endorsement to throw whatever wacky project. I know me and Thailand are currently in the middle of our insane project.
Just, you know, a little bit of yeehaw cowboy stuff.
Good.
It's fun.
Are you using the Guns and Gears rules?
Oh,
yeah. Basing it off of that heavily.
All right, so now that I have to change so many of these questions. So
Feel free to just tell us.
Every question we had written was in the hope that, you know, it wasn't unionized.
It was spaced around the context of not yet, but maybe in the future.
Okay, so
you can always just tell Katina or I to just go off, and we will.
No,
We'll just go off. No, we'll talk. Well, I mean, we'll just talk about all the stuff that's been going on. Like you can,
because I mean, there's a lot going on.
There's definitely is a lot.
Yeah.
So I know at least I could tell you one of the questions off here. Jason, like, where would you like to see this union go? Like, what direction would you?
Yes. Yeah. Very good question. Okay, so now that the union is recognized, now what? Right. That's the obvious next question. Okay. Well, so there's a lot of ways that we'd like to see Paizo improve, and we also understand this is a negotiation, right? So we want to put we want to put as many of our hopes and expectations up front, and with the awareness that we may have to sacrifice some of them when it comes time for the contract. But let's talk about what we'd like to see. And again, Katina, I'm going to forget some of this stuff, so please jump in and correct me. let's talk about the obvious stuff. We don't pay people enough money. Customer service, warehouse staff, new editors when they get hired. A lot of folks at our company get hired for less than 40 a year, like 33, 35 a year.
Seattle is not a cheap area to live in.
Seattle is a a living wage in this area is about 41. Like you can't do it. I was hired as an editor at 38, 3.5 years ago. And for my first year that I was here, if I didn't have freelancing gig on the side, I didn't have a food budget, right? Things are a little bit better now, but that's not because of Paizo. Things are better because I haven't had to pay student loans in two years, right? Because I don't have to commute anymore, right? And that's why things are easier. So let's look at salaries. That we have to look at salaries. Nobody at Paizo can afford to buy a house or start a family. And let's be honest, that's the American dream, right? Like start a family, buy a house. Like that's how we think of Americans moving up in their socioeconomic status and joining the middle class. Paizo is staffed by working class people who are living paycheck to paycheck. That unions were made to address that problem. That's why unions exist. So let's make that happen. But there's a lot of other things too. We've been working from home for the last couple of years, and management had already clarified that we would continue to work from home through at least the end of the pandemic. But a lot of us quite like working from home. Now, not everybody. Some people prefer to go to the office. Maybe they want to work 3-2 or whatever. Like maybe they want to leave the house and get to the office, and that's great. But others of us very much have embraced working from home, and it's allowed us to do a lot of things and enjoy part of our lives that we didn't get to do before. And in fact, and I'm quoting Eric Mona here, we may even be more productive working from home than we are in the office and on the editorial side, on the developer, designer, art editorial side. So we would like to see work from home options continue beyond the pandemic. And we would also like to consider making them even broader so that we wouldn't have to stay in the Seattle area to do our jobs. We've already made it very clear that we can work remotely. We can still put out all the books we were putting out before. Well, so if one of us wants to, you've got aging parents, or you want to move to a cheaper area of the country, we would love it to make that possible. Katina, you want to pick up from there because I'm talking too much.
No, I mean, I think you covered a lot of it, and I mean, it's a good point with the work from home. I mean, I think there are points where it saves the company money to have us be flexible and have options to stay home. And I think for me personally, it's a thing where we went from 2 cars to 1 car now that we're home all the time. And so that's kind of my personal take on work from home, is I'm like, I'd like something flexible so that, we can share the car. My husband can go to work someday and I can go to work the other day. It's just kind of those quality of life improvements. And I think that's kind of a point to make too, is that, I think a lot of people, and maybe some of the naysayers or grumbly people online at the beginning were kind of like, oh, is it really that bad at Paizo? Is it terrible? Are they awful to you? And it's like, it doesn't have to be that, everyone is experiencing bad conditions, or, there certainly are improvements that can be made and everything like that. But really, we want options going forward, and we can want to kind of be more heard rather than kind of just sit around and wait and, oh, well, I hope they let us work from home. Oh, I hope, we can come to an agreement on that. It kind of gives us a little bit more autonomy and a little bit more power to say, hey, this is working for us and we want to make it work together.
Yeah, Katina makes a good point. Like, one of the things that we often heard as we were sharing our stories behind the scenes over the last week was how little a lot of the employees know about the decisions Paizo's leadership makes. We often feel very in the dark. Now, on the editorial side, like, we have Monday stand-up meetings where Eric comes in and sort of tells us what's going on. But if you're not on that half of the company, if you're in customer service or warehouse or tech or whatever, often even less, and you don't know what Paizo is going to do until you read about it on the company blog, and that's not a good way to run a company, right? And we want to be able to know what's going on, and we want to be able to have input into those decisions, and that's exactly what Katina was talking about. And I want to add one more thing on here while we talk about it. The workplace environment has been so unhealthy, and that many of our LGBTQ employees, amazing people whom I learned so much from and I have tremendous respect for, have felt so unwelcome that they have left the company, that they have quit. And sometimes they had gigs lined up elsewhere, but sometimes they didn't. And they would rather go out into unemployment than have to deal with that shit in the office for another day. And that breaks my heart, because it's not only are these friends of mine that deserve to be treated better, but they're human beings that deserve to be treated better. And Paizo as a company, it was worse off without them. Like they have so much knowledge and so much skill, and they were so good at what they do. So we got to address that. We got to get some kind of, we got to find some way to improve the workplace conditions so that these people don't feel marginalized and even, just they don't have to feel like they're trying to come to work every day in an environment where they're not welcome.
Yeah, that was one of the main things that actually surprised me, because I remember one of the things that was really appealing to me about Paizo as a company was the fact they always like put on the airs of a very like open and accepting and like friendly environment and company, which was shocking to see that a few of the like minority employees were being treated poorly, and there was even like pushback from the higher ups about having that accepting like reputation as a company.
Well, I need to make like you phrase it as putting on airs. That suggests that it's fake. It's not fake.
Yeah, I worded that wrong.
Like the people that work there, the developers, the designers, the editors, the customer service staff, the warehouse people, all of those, that is Paizo. Like we believe in that, and we put it in our books every month. You've seen it. James, you got those books on your shelf.
Look, I can open up Ruby Phoenix right now. I can tell you one of the NPCs is like right off the bat is non-binary.
Yeah, the first fight we had, there was a non-binary character, and they were cool.
How
as hell.
Jin is asexual. Like I remember reading that in Lost Omens Legends when I was doing research for Ruby Phoenix. Like
that's right.
You guys have got the representation. You guys have got the open, like the friendly environment.
Yeah. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that that is everywhere in our company, right? Especially at the top, because the bad example up top endorses bad behavior at the bottom, right? And so we got to get everybody on board with that, and there's got to be no tolerance for other shenanigans, right? Like it's got to be 100%. Yeah. And
I'll add too that I think a lot of it is about making sure that the marginalized folks that are experiencing, if they come up against a problem, or if they have, an idea or a suggestion or something like that, all of that onus shouldn't always be on those people. Like it should be shared. It shouldn't have to be those same people over and over again saying, hey, this is being elitist, or this is, racist, or this is whatever. Like there should be systems in place so that the systemic type of stuff that can filter into workplaces or communities is not solely on their shoulders to take care of.
This is one of the ways that the union will be good for Paizo, because a lot of the management at Paizo have had to deal with these complaints, right? Like people feel like they're treated poorly, and that kind of stuff like distracts from your work, and you're busy. Like, but now there's going to be a process for all of that stuff, right? And it's all going to be formalized, and we're going to have a process, and the union can help make that happen. And so we can just focus on making good books. And the people whose job is to run these departments and make good books can just do that and spend less time firefighting personnel issues, right? That isn't their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely shout out to all the LGBT members that currently work at Paizo. 100%. So yeah, it's definitely great hearing that, especially, being LGBT myself. It's definitely nice seeing a lot of support from the company, because I look at other RPGs and some of them aren't as welcoming upfront, or they don't ever give representation to anyone. I don't want to say a particular company I have in mind, but I think
Yeah, there are a
everybody
few
can
out there that aren't great
assume.
with that.
Yeah, but
I'm going to jump in here if I may.
okay, yeah, go ahead.
So your point is that Paizo is a leader in this part of the industry.
Yes,
And the
definitely.
beautiful thing about that is that's our reputation. I have to say, it's so great to be working for a company that is leading the way on these issues and not constantly doing cleanup, right? And putting out fires like other companies are. Well, so let's take that position as a leader in the industry and take unionization along with us and make that yet another example of how Paizo is leading the way. This is the first RPG union ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Like,
Hopefully,
How exciting.
I mean, the hopes there is, I mean, that creates hopefully that creates a ripple effect through the industry as a whole.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
that would be my next question. How do you how do you guys think this will affect the TTRPG industry as a whole? How is this going to send a ripple through the rest of the industry? How do you think?
Katina, take this one.
Well, I mean, people are seeing this on Twitter and they're seeing it on, Facebook. It's kind of going on all over the internet. And I think people see that and they go, oh, that's possible for us. Like, I didn't know that was a thing we could do. And I think that's probably some of the hesitation that, like I was talking earlier about the kind of splinter groups that were thinking about unionization before this all really happened. I think everyone was kind of just really daunted and like, is that even possible? Is that, are they going to fight us or whatever? And I think
Untreaded territory.
exactly, yeah. And I think another part of it too, it's a niche industry, but it's a growing industry. And I think a lot of people, maybe they still don't even think of it as like a real job, doing creative stuff or making games, but it is a real job. These are real people depending on this, the company for their livelihood. So I think it kind of sends that signal that like, no, we actually want to be taken seriously. We're real people and, we deserve to make a living too. So I think, if there are other folks at other companies that, think that they're in similar situations, or if they want to kind of see the same movements and the same progress, I hope that they see it as a sign that it's totally possible and they can work together and form their party. And I think I'm really hoping to see it kind of spread that ripple, like we were saying.
Yeah, our industry, like Katina's absolutely right. It's a small niche industry, but it's a growing industry. It's a challenge because so many role-playing game companies are like 3 people working side gigs, right? Like there's no full-time employees at the company at all, but they're not all like that, especially here in Seattle, where there's so many role-playing game companies that are based here. And also related companies, board game manufacturers or war game companies or small video game firms that are no larger or even much smaller than Paizo. And these are all these companies are related and they're all kind of share that same nerd space, and maybe they're not exactly the same, but we all know each other and we hang out at the same parties and we eat at the same restaurants and we bump into the same people. So there's a possibility here for UPW to lead the way and become, as Katina put it, a ripple effect that affects not just other role-playing game companies, but other related companies that are in the gaming field, and I would love to see it. I can neither confirm nor deny that we have considered how to change our logo to say United TTRPG Workers instead of just United Paizo Workers, which would sure be great.
I mean, The kobold holding a pickaxe would work for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. You have a kobold followed by like an elite hand from Halo, and then so on and so forth, and then you work your way up. Like the Monopoly Man Kane, and then like a little top hat.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, Seattle's just changed their tagline to "City of Nerds." I mean, it's
If I'm not sold on moving to Seattle right now, I don't know what would do it.
Oh, rent. That's what'll stop you.
Oh
from
yeah,
the rent.
never mind. Yeah, I forgot about that. Never mind. I'm staying where I
But you're absolutely right. Like when I moved here 3.5 years ago, and I wanted to start up a role-playing group. I started up a Starfinder group immediately because I wanted to get on the Starfinder team, so I had to run the game so I could learn it better. But then I started up this Ars Magica group, which is a game from like the 80s. It's infamously hard. It's an old role-playing game that Jonathan Tweet and Mark Reinhagen made back before they became famous. And it's infamously hard. I went onto a Facebook group and I had like 12 players in 24 hours, right? Because Seattle is the home of nerd culture. Like it's so easy to find people for this to game with. And the game stores here are like palaces. It's crazy.
It's definitely like, it's so interesting to see how it all comes from Indiana and then migrating more west to obviously where it's at now, which is in Washington. But it's great to see you guys like come like every year to like Gen Con, and actually I think that's actually where I met Jason. I think I've actually met you before at a Gen Con, which is really cool. Now I don't know why that just popped in my memory, but it did.
I've been to Gen Con I think twice for Paizo. And that was it. Like I've never been to I went to Gen Con once before, many years ago when it was still in Lake Geneva. So what was that? Must have been right before COVID, like a couple of years ago.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was right when the playtest was announced, and I was super nervous about talking to anybody. And I was looking at Starfinder, and I think Pack Worlds just came out, and I was just like, all right, here's 20 minutes. And it was just this long conversation. It was so fun.
Good.
This movement, leading up to the recognition of the union, how has that movement, affected your personal lives outside of working at Paizo?
If I'm being honest, it's been distracting. just waiting for news and kind of what's going on now. Oh, we're having this meeting, or we're researching this topic, or we're waiting for messaging or stuff like that. It's but it's also been really great. I mean, my husband is Blake from Archives of Nethys, so he was very, very excited for us too, and he retweeted when the announcement was made and everything. So it's just kind of been like a little ray of hope, because there was stress and everything like that, and just normal kind of pandemic working. But then when the whole kind of controversy happened, it was like, oh, there's more stress and there's more frustration and uncertainty, and we're not sure what's going to happen going forward. And I really think it's been pretty grounding to be like, wow, okay, no, I have this group of people that are all in the same position, like we're all together. It's not as scary that way. We're going to figure something out and we're going to move forward together. And like Jake said, we knew it was going to happen because we already had the votes, and so we had the support that we needed. It was just kind of a matter of time and a matter of figuring out what steps needed to be taken, what forms needed to be filled out, and all that stuff. So yeah, in my personal life, it's been nice. It's been very exciting to see all these changes, and like I said before, it's been great to talk to everybody and just kind of remember why I love this company and the people that work there so much. It's, any job can get frustrating. Any job can be like, oh, I don't want to work today. But I think it's been really great to see everybody come together and have this thing that we can all hope for and fight for together.
About a week ago, I did a Facebook Live meeting with Owen K. Stevens and Mike Lafferty on the Banff podcast. And basically this made me the unofficial spokesman for the UPW. And I was bombarded with social media requests and stuff. And so I did this is my 7th interview in the last week. I did 3 on Saturday and I did 2 on Sunday. And I took Tuesday and Wednesday off because I run a game those nights, so I couldn't do interviews those, and I couldn't do it during work time, of course, because no union activity on the clock. But so personal life, this last week has been a bit too busy for me. Thank you for asking. But I am stepping down from that now. The UPW is a marathon. It's a relay race and not a sprint. So I am handing the baton to someone else in the UPW, and I still made commitments to do a couple more interviews next week, but otherwise I'm gonna fade back into the background like Homer into the bush, and gratefully so. So I mean, it's been fun because there were other people contributing to the union in other ways. Like we had people making the banner and people coming up with our slogan and people serving on org committees and people helping to write statements, and I wasn't doing any of that, but I wanted to contribute. And so participating in these interviews and helping to spread the word and get the word out was kind of how I felt like I was helping. But it's very important for no one person to monopolize the stage and to become like UPW is about a group of people. It's about all of us. It's not about any one person. And so after doing the blitz for a week, I will hand off to the next stage. And I felt good. It was good to do it, but it's also been kind of exhausting, frankly. And I'll be glad to go back and just get back to telling stories about Space Wizards all day.
Well, it was awesome getting a chance to talk to you, though. You too, you as well, Katina. It was amazing to get to talk to both of you.
Cool. We have one fan submitted question.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
This one comes from Eli at Deadly D8 because we were just talking with him. What can fans do at Paizo to support the union efforts?
It's changed a little bit now since
A little bit,
Just gotta accept a little, just a wee bit.
Jason's used to being like, tell them to recognize.
Yeah. Well, for sure. Like I actually encourage you to congratulate our management on doing the right thing. It never hurts to be told that you did the right thing. And so I encourage folks to do that. Go onto our forums and tell the company, thank you and congratulations, because this is going to be good for everyone. If you have not picked up, if you are not a Pathfinder or Starfinder person and you're just listening to this broadcast, or maybe you've fallen out of Pathfinder, well, listen, this is a good opportunity for you to come back. Like, it's not very often you get to buy a role-playing game from a union shop, and you can say how much you approve of labor and union rights. Pick up that book, that newest book that we just put out or whatever, and congratulate the company with your hard-earned wallet if you're willing to do that.
Not only is it not very often you get to buy an RPG from a union shop, this may very well be the first time
that's right.
you get to buy a union-led RPG.
Yeah, but you do not have to spend money to support us. We still have all of our merch is out there. Katina's wearing our shirt. We've got, that's right.
It just showed up
picking up
today.
that
I was so
shirt.
excited.
I'm so excited. I want that shirt. You have no idea how bad I need that shirt.
James, it fits on the goblin statue, by the way. We've tested it already, so I just want to let you know.
You know what? You can take the $425 from my bank account. Fine. Okay. All right. It's it. I'll go pick it up tomorrow.
Where are you gonna put it? I can see your room. Where are you gonna put it?
Cuddle with it. There's a giant bed. It's adorable.
Anyway, so yeah, you don't have to spend money. I mean, if you want to, that'd be great, and we're going to use it for good purposes. But if you don't want to, you can just write to Paizo, or to go to our forums, or you can write to our managers, and you can tell them thanks for doing the right thing. Stick with us. We got a lot of cool shit coming up.
Oh boy.
And how much do we love cool shit, guys? A lot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys can all check out Paizo's latest releases. There's a ton of cool shit for both Pathfinder and Starfinder. We were talking about this ahead of time, but I'm super looking forward to the precog class coming to Starfinder.
Galactic Magic, that's the book. Galactic Magic.
I'm so excited to see more magic. Finally,
very excited for the
further
upcoming
into
Book of the
Starfinder.
Dead.
Book of the Dead.
Yeah, Book of the Dead.
Yes, we
Can't
are.
wait to become a lich.
That's a character I'm not letting you play as.
And then, as if Book of the Dead was not enough, we got a whole AP set in Geb.
Yes.
You can play undead characters in the Undead Nation, and I wrote the second volume for that, so I can't wait for you all to see it. It's gonna be
Oh my God, there's so much. You guys put out so much stuff. I genuinely want to thank all of the employees at Paizo who have banded together, managed to overcome this great obstacle, and working with, through toughest of conditions, and it's
Not only-
truly amazing.
Not only a great obstacle, but meeting an amazing milestone for not only Paizo but the industry at large.
It is. Yeah. UnitedPaizoWorkers.org. I forgot to plug our website.
Yep.
Hey, look at that. We got it in time.
Follow us on Twitter at Paizo Workers. And I really do think, like, as Katina mentioned earlier, this is just the one step in a very long journey. And if you're interested in the fact that this is the first union in an RPG company, then follow our story. Like, help us tell that story. Join us and help us tell the story of what it means to be a union shop in an RPG industry.
Like I said before, it was amazing talking to you too, especially after this crazy milestone.
It's a real pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you so much to all of you for inviting us.
Yeah,
And
thank
guys,
you so much.
Stay tuned. We have tons of great things coming in the future. Definitely more interviews with Paizo staff. I won't give away some of their names, but Jenny, can't wait to talk to you tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, thank you guys for so much for being here. Feel free to check us out. We don't bite at all.
Wait, before
We give hugs.
This episode is also historic. Let me just add that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it
the first
is.
episode after the recognition.
It's true.
Yep.
That's it, guys. We've done it. And historians are going to go back, and right after Paizo announced, they dealt with 3 nerds in a very long video call.
Immortalized for all time.
Yeah, exactly. You captured the excitement, though, I think.
That's what we aim to do.